Hello, welcome to Smartboard 101. I'm your host, Robert Rocha. I'm an instructional technology specialist with the Paso Independent School District. Recently, we've been focusing on how to add interactivity into our Smart Notebook lessons. Today, we're going to focus more on the basic layout of Smart Notebook. Specifically, we're going to look at the tabs features and even more specifically, the actual page sorter tab. The page sorter tab allows a teacher to go ahead and organize and edit their Smart Notebook files into a manner they feel best to present to their class. So let's go and take a look and see how this page sorter tab works and the different features that it has of it. I already have a Smart Notebook file already open, so I'm going to go and click on that one here. And if I look at my tab sections that I have here, just a quick overview, I basically have 4 tabs. I have the page sorter tab, which is the very first one. The second one's going to be the gallery. The third one will be the attachments, and the last one's going to be our properties tab. And like I said, we're going to focus on the very first one, our page sorter tab. Now, in our page sorter tab, if I look at it, it's kind of like PowerPoint, where I have a picture of all my pages that I have within my Smart Notebook file. You can see I have quite a bit of pages that I can look from. And as I'm dragging it down, you can see there's quite a bit of pages. So I'm going back up here. Okay. Now, what's really neat about this page sorter tab is you can do a lot of different things here. Notice here, when I look at my first page that I have, and let me go back to my single page display so it's not as distracting here. So go back to my single page display. Now, if I look back up here on my drop-down menu that I have on my first page, I have a lot of options that I can choose from. And so my first option is I can delete this page. So let's say I was building a page and I no longer wanted it, I can delete it right there. That's the easiest and best place to delete it. Another reason you might want to learn about deleting the page is if you go to the Smart Exchange, that's a free website that Smart creates. There's a lot of files that you can, or Smart Notebook files that you can download. And those sometimes when you're looking at those files, there may be only 1 or 2 pages that you really like out of that. So this is one way you can eliminate all the files or the pages that you no longer need, and you can go ahead and keep the one that you do want within your Smart Notebook. So that comes in very handy. Now, if I actually click on the page here and go back, go to my drop-down menu, I can clear that page if I wanted to. Right now it's not highlighted because I don't have anything written in there. Everything that you see within this page is locked down. But if I was to go ahead and just pick up my pen and start writing something here, if I can get this to work, and it's not, so let me go and grab a pen up here, and I start writing. I'm not sure why. Go back up here. There I go. Select me a pen. And if I start writing here, and I go back to my page sorter tab, I go to my drop-down menu, notice now my clear page is available, and I can clear everything that's not locked within my Smart Notebook. So when I clear that, it erases all my information that's not locked on my page. So I can go back up here again. The second option was clear ink from page. And so if I wanted just my markups that I had on, I could go ahead and delete my markups. And again, that's not highlighted because I don't have anything written on my page. But that can come in handy because you can have different objects on your Smart Notebook, and as you're writing your notes down, you can just erase the notes and not the entire page. So they get a little customization that's available there. The next thing I can go ahead and do is insert a blank page. And when I insert a blank page, it puts it beneath my current page that I have. So notice if I look at my page sorter tab here, I have my first page and page 2, and notice that there's material that's written on it. But if I insert that blank page, it kind of bumps that second page down to a third page and puts the second page as my new page that I have there. So that's one way you can go ahead and add different pages of your file that you needed there. Now if I go back to my drop-down menu that I have here, I can also clone the page. So let's say, for instance, like this one here, I have a sign-in sheet for when I do my presentations. Let's say I had a large group of students that I was teaching. If I wanted to clone that, make an identical one, I could clone that page. And now notice I get another copy down here within my clone the page. So now I have 2 copies of that particular page. Okay. Next thing I can do is rename the page. Now notice here below it says sign-in sheet is the name of my actual file. But if I wanted to, I can click on that and rename that page to anything that is relevant to me to know. Now, what's really great about Smart Notebook is every time that you insert a page, let me go and insert another one here. Every time I insert that page, it automatically gives me today's date and the default time. So it tells you exactly when you created that particular file. So this is really good when you're teaching, because what can happen is, as you're writing notes in your class, let's say each day you open up a Smart Notebook file, you can go back and look at the date that when you actually taught that particular material. So keeping that name, the actual date there, can be an actual very good teaching tool for you to organize your material. So let's say a student who was absent last Tuesday, you could always go back and see what exactly were your notes for last Tuesday, and you could print those copies off for your students if you wanted to do that. So again, that's a really neat feature within Smart Notebook. Go down here. I'm sorry, wrong place. I'm going to go down here. And I'm going to click on Screen Shade. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to quickly hide this page to my students while I want to display it. I don't want them to see that information. I can click on the Screen Shade, and notice, voila, I have my Screen Shade that's up. And if I wanted to go ahead and delete that, I can always click on the X here, or go to the drop-down menu and uncheck the Screen Shade, and I can remove it at that particular point here. Okay. And also, this is another great feature within Smart Notebook, and this is a great organizational tool. A lot of times we spend a great amount of time creating this content, and sometimes we want to reuse pages over and over again, but we don't actually want to use that particular file, the whole complete file, but maybe just a page. So what I can do is I can add my page to the gallery, and when I click on that page here, let's say now that I added my gallery, notice it automatically put me to the actual my gallery here. And if I go to my content and I go to Notebook File and Pages, my last item that I had here would be, or one of the items here, is my sign-in sheet. So I can always refer back to that any time within my Smart Notebook. Okay. Let me go back to my Smart Page over here. Now another great tool that you can use is in organizing your slides is, let's say I wanted this blank piece of paper as my first sheet that I wanted on my slide. How can I move the things between each other or move slides around? What I can do is click on that, and I can drag it up. And notice when there's that blue bar, if I drop it there, it now moves my pages around. So I can go ahead and move my pages anywhere within my Smart Notebook file that I wanted to move it to. So don't feel that if you build something out of order that you couldn't put it back in reorder there. Now the last thing I want to show you about the page sorter is, notice here where it says welcome. And there's also a drop-down menu that's there. When I go to that drop-down menu, I can go to Edit Page Groups. Okay? And so as you can see on my file that I have here, I have I can title certain groups of pages. So for instance, my first 7 pages I have are all about welcoming my audience to my particular piece. My next one that I have, a group of segments that I have, is called my Introduction to Smart Notebook Software. And so I can organize my slides by groups. Now, again, as I was mentioning earlier, let's say you're teaching using one Smart Notebook file for all your classes, you can organize it by week. So let's say by certain areas that you're teaching. So for instance, you're teaching multiplication. You can title that multiplication and all your slides that are based on multiplication under one group, create another group for, let's say, division, and have all your division slides there. And let's say there are slides that are out of sync. I can actually grab number 3 here, slide number 3, and I can move it to another area, another group, if I wanted to add another group there. So I can move them back and forth. So as you can see, you can do a lot of editing and organizing within Smart Notebook using the page sorter features that are there. Let me go, one last thing I mentioned to you is that if I want to go back, I simply go back to my drop-down menu. Not where I want to go to. I'm going to go back to my page sorter tab here. If I click back on the drop-down menu, Edit Pages, it takes me back to originally was. So I hope you can see that you can use this particular feature in your classroom as far as organizing your files. And this pretty much wraps it up for learning how to use the page sorter tab. Have a good day.